Our next item is the update relative to the APRA response policy. And for that, I'll turn it back over to our executive director.
Sure. I wanted to take an opportunity to speak to the access to. Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, all the people kind of disappeared on my screen. But anyway, as long as you guys can hear me, that's okay. I wanted to take an opportunity to speak about the APRA, the Access to Public Records Act. Within the past 2 weeks, we received an APRA request for the video in the Sergeant Hanley investigation. Prior to that, earlier this summer, I believe in August, we received two similar requests. And so I wanted to speak to that just to make sure that everybody understands we're on the same page. And I'm grateful to the City Law Department and specifically to Attorney Eddie Lee Straub, who joined us in a small Zoom meeting to help clarify some of the nuances about the APRA law. We are not in any way, shape, or form trying to hide anything or be inconsistent. The reality is, and I wanted to ask the vice chair if he would be willing, who was present at that meeting with the Attorney Straub, if he'd be willing to speak on what we discussed during that meeting. But the very general, the point that I wanted to make, both to the board and to the public, regarding APRA, the Access to Public Records Act. Whenever anybody makes a request to us or any department in the city, the law department has issued a policy that says that for matters of consistency and legality and liability and making sure that everybody's on the same page, that all APRA requests have to go through the city law department. And so to the extent that there was any journalists or folks in the community waiting for us to respond, I have forwarded any request that I received to the law department. I did my best ability to play devil's advocate and to see to what extent PERA could respond to our own. And the reality is that there's a city policy for a good reason, and we should comply with that, for lack of a better word. It's certainly a complicated matter. It's certainly something that I think deserves looking into and legally analyzing, which is why I spent time looking into it and wanted to be transparent with the board and the law department. But ultimately, we did not respond to them for ourselves. We just forwarded them to the law department based on the law department's policy. And so, Mr. Vice Chair, if I missed anything or if you thought there was anything else that was notable from that meeting that the public or the board should know, I would ask if you could please elaborate.
No, I think you covered everything. I believe that Eddie was pretty clear that any APRA request would have to go through the city law department and that they would have 10 days to respond, and that reception of an APRA request wasn't a guarantee to receive information. It was simply to have an understanding that there was a request made for the information. And so I think that she was pretty clear. I think you covered everything the way it was presented to us.